Good morning, everyone. It's always place the cross on first, no matter what's going on in your life. If you live for God, live for God. You just don't know the purpose He has for you. You just don't know. You know, it's different for everyone. Everybody has a different purpose. But our purpose is to endorse who? The Most High God. Whatever. I saw somebody post something yesterday, and it troubled me a little bit. It was about Halloween. He said him and his family celebrate Halloween, but we do it to the Lord, right? And it just irked my soul a little bit because he used the scripture that said, "In all things you do in honor of God." But let me tell you something. If you read this Bible, we can't do what other people do, other nations do, other religions do to honor our God. We can't do that. Just being real with you. But it bothered me. You understand? And, you know, this person who I read the video on, he does a lot of great videos. He do. But it's like he's torn on this part. If you read the Bible, you'll see God has a problem with a lot of things. But today I'm going to read from Daniel chapter 4. It's about Nebuchadnezzar, the servant of the Lord. The servant of the Lord. You see, Nebuchadnezzar would do all kind of things. All kind of weird things. Set up temples, this and that. He was God's servant. You understand? He was God's servant. And God was working on Nebuchadnezzar from the moment he chose him to bring the children of Israel into captivity. Now, if you go back to the story of Joseph, Joseph found favor with Pharaoh. And Pharaoh favored the children of Israel. He said, "I'll make even your enemies to be at peace with you." It wasn't until the next Pharaoh, after Pharaoh died, his son come in, and then they started treating the children of Israel harshly. This happens a lot. But in Nebuchadnezzar's case, he had to be humbled. He had to realize, like, if you really pay attention to the book of Daniel, God was reaching forward to Nebuchadnezzar, trying to open his eyes to the truth. Nebuchadnezzar would go to sorcerers and all these things. They never could do anything. But his pride would grow. You understand? And he just got so prideful and so boastful. And the Lord humbled him. I wonder what this got to do with what I was talking about earlier. Well, we're finna find out together. Chapter 4. I'm going to read a lot today, so I hope you got time. Nebuchadnezzar the king, unto all people, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth, peace be multiplied unto you. You'll see something right there. First, you'll see in all nations and all languages. So when he said that, guess what? He had to have interpreters. He had to reach every nation in different languages. You see, people always figure that language is important. It's not. The Lord created all languages. I thought it good to show the signs and wonders that the high God have wrought toward me. How great are his signs, and how mighty are his wonders. His kingdom is an everlasting kingdom. Look at Nebuchadnezzar. The first 3 chapters, God been showing him things. And his dominion is from generation to generation. Nebuchadnezzar was at rest in my house and flourished in my palace. I saw a dream which made me afraid, and the thoughts upon my bed and the visions of my head troubled me. Therefore made I decree to bring in all the wise men to Babylon before me, that they might make known unto me the interpretation of the dream. Then came in the magicians, the astrologers, the Chaldeans, and the soothsayers. And I told the dream before them, but they did not make known unto me the interpretation thereof. But at the last, Daniel came in before me, whose name was Belteshazzar, according to the name of my God, and whom is the spirit of the holy gods. And before him I told a dream, saying, O Belteshazzar, master of the magicians. Little did he know. Because I know that the spirit of the holy gods is in thee. He said, gods. And no secret troubleth thee. Tell me the vision of my dream that I have seen, and interpretation thereof. Thus were the vision of mine head in my bed. I saw, and behold, a tree in the midst of the earth, and the height thereof was great. The tree grew and was strong, and the height thereof reached unto heaven, and the sight thereof to the end of the earth. The leaves thereof were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and it was meat for all. The beasts of the field get down. The beasts of the field had shadow under it, and the fowls of the heaven dwelt in the boughs thereof, and all flesh was fed of it. I saw in the vision of my head upon my bed, and behold, a watcher, and an holy one came down from heaven. Now, when they say watcher, you got to remember what that is. It's an angel. You see, you watch a lot of movies, and you hear terms and terminology, and you're like, what that mean? Like you watch the Hollywood representation of Noah, and they call the angels watchers, the fallen ones watchers. But let me tell you something. The fallen ones ain't the watchers. The watchers are the ones that abide with the Lord and keep the commandments of the Lord. That's what the watchers are. The ones that do his perfect will. He cried aloud and said, thus hewn down the tree and cut off his branches. Shake off his leaves and scatter his fruits. Let the beasts get away from under it, and the fowls from his branches. Now think about what Jesus talked about. Or the New Testament talks about, should I say, that he pruning the tree. You understand? Basically, he's molding you. Look how close this is to that. Nevertheless, leave the stump of his roots in the earth, even with 10 bands of iron and brass, and the tender grass of the field, and let it be wet with the dew of heaven. Let his portion be with the beasts and the grass of the earth. Let his heart be changed from man's, and let a beast's heart be given unto him, and let 7 times pass over him. This matter is by the decree of the watchers, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomever he will, and set up over it the basis of men. This dream my king Nebuchadnezzar has seen. Now thou, O Belteshazzar, declare the interpretation thereof. For as much as all the wise men of my kingdom are not able to make known unto me the interpretation, but thou art able, for the spirit of the holy gods is in thee. Then Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, was a stone for him for 1 hour, and his thoughts troubled him. The king spake and said, Belteshazzar, let not the dream or the interpretation thereof trouble thee. Belteshazzar answered and said, my lord, the dream be to them that hate thee, and the interpretation thereof to thine enemies. The tree that thou sawest which grew and was strong, whose height reached into the heaven, and the sight thereof to all the earth, whose leaves were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and that it was meat for all, under which the beasts of the field dwelt, and upon whose branches the fowls of the heaven had their habitation. It is thou, O king, that art grown and become strong. For thy greatness is grown, and reacheth into heaven, and thy dominion to the end of the earth. And whereas the king saw a watcher and an holy one coming down from heaven, and saying, hew the tree down and destroy it, yet leave the stump of the roots thereof in the earth, even with a band of iron and brass, and the tender grass of the field, and let it be wet with dew of heaven, and let its proportion be with the beast of the field, till 7 times pass over him. This is the interpretation, O king, and this is the decree of the Most High, which is come upon my lord the king, that they shall drive thee from men, Now, who's going to drive thee from men? The angels, the watchers. To do what? We're going to find out. They shall drive thee from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field. And they shall make thee to eat grass as an oxen. They shall wet thee with the dew of heaven. And 7 times shall pass over thee, till thou know the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will. And whereas they commanded to leave the stump of the tree roots, the kingdom shall be sure unto thee. After that thou shalt have known that the heavens do rule. Wherefore, King, let my counsel be acceptable to thee, and break off the sins by righteousness, off thy sins by righteousness, and thy iniquities by showing mercy to the poor, if it may be a lengthening of the tranquility. All this came upon the king Nebuchadnezzar. At the end of 12 months he walked in the palace of the kingdom of Babylon. The king spake and said, Is not this great Babylon that I have built for the house of the kingdom, by the might of my power, and for the honor of my majesty? While the word was in the king's mouth, there fell a voice from heaven saying, O King Nebuchadnezzar, to thee it is spoken, the kingdom is departed from thee. Why? He had reverence to himself, honor to himself. And no reverence to the Most High God, even though God was showing all these great signs and wonders through Belteshazzar, Daniel. His heart was not completely turned to the Most High God. He worshipped himself. They shall drive thee from men, and the dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field. They shall make thee to eat grass as oxen, and 7 times shall pass over thee, until thou know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomever he will. The same hour was the thing fulfilled upon Nebuchadnezzar. And he was driven from men, and did eat grass as oxen. And his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till his hairs were grown like eagle's feathers, and his nails like birds' claws. And at the end of the days, I, Nebuchadnezzar, lifted up my eyes unto heaven, and my understanding returned unto me. And I blessed the Most High, and I praised and honored him that liveth forever, whose dominion is an everlasting dominion, and his kingdom is from generation to generation. And all the inhabitants of the earth are reputed as nothing, and he doeth according to his will in the arm of heaven, and among the inhabitants of the earth. And none can stay his hand, or say unto him, What doest thou? At the same time my reason returned unto me, and for the glory of my kingdom, mine honor and my brightness returned to me. And my counselors and my lords sought unto me, and I was established in my kingdom. An excellent majesty was added unto me. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and extol and honor the King of heaven, all whose works are truth, and his ways judgment, and those that walk in pride he is able to abase. Think about this. Children of pride. You see, God can use them too. But the thing is, everybody God uses, it's something that happens to most of them. They change. You can say Nebuchadnezzar went through a spiritual baptism right then to humble himself before the Lord. But after Nebuchadnezzar passed, his son come in. The thing is, we can't control what our kids do. We can't, but we can set the example. That means Nebuchadnezzar's son had to see Nebuchadnezzar transferring from his evil ways to the ways of the Most High God. Nebuchadnezzar started accepting the things that God has showed him as truth. The Most High God. You see, God's understanding is way different from ours. But you read Jeremiah, you'll see that oftentimes the Lord said, my servant Nebuchadnezzar. My servant. Even when Nebuchadnezzar wasn't even doing what he thought, or when he thought he wasn't being controlled by the Most High God, he was. It was in his heart content to destroy Egypt, to take the people, but it was all God's doing through him. And God was trying to show him, hey, this is me. This is why you have power. Give me my honor, give me my respect. You understand? This book is great. You know, because a lot of people look at Nebuchadnezzar like he was a bad person. He was actually a great king. He just didn't know why he was great. You see this all through the world today. There's so many people in great power. And they still seek after sorcerers and magicians and witches and all these things. They still do things they should not. God made sure that the sorcerers couldn't do nothing. You understand? But it's the same way in this world. He said everybody who's in great power, he put them there. But why did he put them there? For his great pleasure. It's all about honoring him. You understand? Now, what does this have to do with what I was talking about earlier? You can't honor God through pagan ways. It's like a sorcerer saying, my power comes from the Most High God. A sorcerer. And I'm doing this for God. He's putting God's stamp on it. Or you're a soothsayer, you're putting God's stamp on it. Like it's for God. How does that make sense at all? Think about it. God trimmed the tree and left a stump. So he basically tore him down and his kingdom from his hands. He set up a new kingdom inside his heart. And when God sets up a new kingdom inside your heart, you try to do the things that pleases him. All old things are passed away, right? That goes for Halloween. Any other thing that we did that is contrary to the Lord's teachings. You know, but when you see his son take over, those statues had went over his head. And I'm not going to go through all of it, but he came through and wrote on the wall concerning the son. But the son was taking God's. Now watch this. Oh Lord, I guess the fruit is here. Actually, I guess I'm going to read it. Let me pause and I will continue.